Hello, my good friends. Actually, it is futile and fruitless to have an argument with someone who has already made up his mind even before the argument even begins. Now, the people who have made up their mind even before the argument are the worst kind of people you will ever argue with. Now, when you look at international politics, for example, in my country, as a Nigerian, you realize that people, you know, take a stand even before the argument even begins. This is always due to the kind of religion and the kind of region you come from. For example, the Christians in Nigeria, they always take, side with the Jews. This is simply because they believe that anyone that supports the Jews is supporting God. If you fight the Jews, you are fighting God. This is their belief. Now, when you also go to the Muslim part of the country, they believe that when you are fighting the Jews, you are fighting the cause of Allah. To them, the extermination of the Jews, the displacement of the Jews is the will of Allah, and it has to happen. So when you as an umpire want to have an argument with these kind of people, you understand that they are not arguing to come and find out. They are simply coming to argue to validate and consolidate what they already believe. Argument does not start with faith. It starts with common sense, reasoning. There has to be a logical, premises for you to arrive at the conclusion. But these people, they don't need any logical background. All they need is to say, according to our Quran, according to the Bible, according to the Torah, this is what is going to happen. This is why we hate these people. So some of these people that hate the Jews, they don't hate the Jews simply because the Jews has done anything wrong to them. If you ask a Nigerian living in northern Nigeria, what has the Jews done to you? No Jewish person has done anything wrong to him. You only hate the Jews simply because they have told him to hate the Jews. Same thing with some of our Christian brothers. They only hate the Arabs, they hate other people simply because they have been told that anybody that is waging war against the Jewish people is fighting against God. So having an argument with this kind of people would be, like hitting the rock. It's not going to enter. You can't convince them. So that is why you see that Nigeria as a country, we are always divided. We are divided not based on some kind of argument that are logical, but simply because of our background, the family, the religion that we belong to. I see some people always blaming the Jews. My Muslim brothers, they blame the Jews for everything. I say, you know your belief concerning the Jews, that your aim in life is to displace and destroy the Jews. Would you rather have the Jews fold their arms and wait for Iran to create their nuclear weapon just to come and displace and bombard them? Is that what you wanted to do? Nobody will wait and sit for you to come and kill him just because your God has told him that you have the right or you are going to destroy him. They have to fight. They have to attack because they know the real intention of building nuclear weapon in the Middle East is just to displace and destroy the Jews. There's nothing more. We all know the truth. So, as individuals like me, who I believe always take a disinterested position and I want to argue from the logical standpoint in every situation, I don't argue with everybody. Because these people, when you argue with them, you argue to anger them. You make them angry, flare up, and they can do some irrational thing. And if care is not taken, if you are in a very bad situation or you are in a place where they can descend or they can even kill you. Because these are zealots. They are zealots for faith, not for truth. So for them, they confuse truth with faith. Faith is faith, and truth is truth. No matter the religion you belong, no matter the God you serve, truth will always remain truth. Your faith does not invalidate truth. In fact, your faith should consolidate and validate truth. If your faith does not validate, does not consolidate or corroborate the truth, it is a sign that your religion is fake. It is a sign that your religion is fake. Because truth is an umpire. Truth does not depend on God, does not depend on man, does not depend on whatever thing. Truth is always truth. And how can we arrive at the truth? By following some commonsensical arguments, logical arguments, so that when we say this is white, at least the vast majority of the world who are not in a bad health can say, actually, this is white. That is the truth. There must be substantiation. There must be evidence. You don't just come and say, this is true because my holy book has said that this is true. You don't just come and start hating people and killing people just because your holy God has said that this is what is going to be the case. Now, I want to ask this question to the three Abrahamic faiths: the Jewish, the Christians, and the Muslims. Why is it that the Abrahamic God always insists on war as the only solution to the end of the world? Like when you meet a Jewish, when you meet a Christian or a Muslim, you always say that on the last day there's going to be war, there's going to be killing, there's going to be evil, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. Why always pessimism to the end of the world? Is it that God cannot end the world in peace? Can't he end the world in peace? That is the question. Now, when I speak like this, people think I don't have faith. I have faith, but I don't just have the kind of faith that you think I should have. Or I don't have the kind of faith that you have. So we must, as a matter of fact, the only way to end the injustice in the world, the only way to end the war that is going on, is to follow common sense. Otherwise, even if you go to the International Court of Justice, people will still come and tell you that God has already told us the Jews has to go. You just have to kill them. God has told us to do that. So that a Jewish child is trained to hate an Arab, and an Arab child is trained to hate a Jew. And they enshrine this hatred and, mix it with their religion and sell it to Africa, so that their enemy becomes our enemy and their friends becomes our friend. So we don't even know who are our enemies from who are our friends any longer, because we are busy fighting other people's fight. The bandits in Katsina, the terrorists, and the people stealing the Nigerian money, are they Jewish people? Those people that are doing banditry in your place, be honest, are they Jewish people? These are your enemies. Your enemies are right beside you, and you are looking far away in the Middle East, searching for enemies when you have your enemies right under your nose. That's unfortunate. That's quite unfortunate. When you look at the history of Africa, the people who impoverished us for years, who have enslaved us for years, are not the Jewish people. So I tell people, I don't have business with the Jewish people. I don't have business fighting them because they are not fighting me. What business do I have with them? I know my enemy. I'm not a bastard child. I know my enemy. As a Benin person who knows his history, I know my enemy. You can't just come and tell me this is my enemy when I know my history. There's only a man that does not know where he's coming from, that does not know his history, that sees anybody and anyone you say this is your enemy, he concludes. I know my enemy. I know my friends. I know my ally. I know the people that enslaved my fathers. I know the people that impoverished my people. That doesn't mean that the Jews are good people, but just that whether they are bad or not, in fact, they did not have any business to do with me. So when I stand against something, it should be because it is wrong, not because of what I believe. That's my point. Thank you.